Finance Act 2020 has awfully changed the older version of Form 26AS and has brought in the concept of a much elaborated and detailed version of this form. But from the point of view of a taxpayer or an income tax assessee, this step of the government has its own pros and cons. Hello friends, I am CA Purnima Nagpal and I welcome you all on this YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about the changes in Form 26AS, which is made applicable through a notification dated 28th May 2020, and the changes are applicable from 1st of June 2020. This initiative of government that then assessee would have all the information regarding its tax deduction and other financial particular at a single place, so that would help him to file his return of income at the year end from that particulars. And another advantage could be that the banks and other financial institutions at the time of doing the due diligence while granting loans to a particular taxpayer, they could also have an idea about the fairness or the authenticity of the person to whom they are granting the loan. But if on the flip side, if we talk about the disadvantages of this initiative, that if the information regarding Form 26AS is gone to uncirculous person, a fictitious person or a non-fair person, that may also cause worry to the taxpayer, because that information may also be used against the taxpayer. So let us discuss more about this in detail. So before going into the details regarding changes in Form 26AS, let us first have a look regarding what 26AS exactly. It is an annual consolidated tax statement which can be accessed from the income tax website by entering the PAN number of the assessee. So all the taxpayers who have a registered account on the income tax portal, they can also view their Form 26AS, which actually shows about the details of tax deducted or paid by the assessee during the year. So let us discuss regarding the information which is currently being displayed in Form 26AS, which is available on the portal today itself. There we can find the details of income on which tax have been deducted, as well as taxes, if any, paid by the assessee himself or by the deductor on his behalf, on the assessee's behalf. And the deductor in this case could be employer, bank, or any other party. And along with this, details of deductor also, and their names and their TAN number, tax deduction account number, is also being reflected in the Form 26AS presently also. And apart from this, details of any refund if you get during the previous relevant year, that will also get reflected in Form 26AS. And apart from this, any TDS on immovable property, sale of immovable property. So in case you get any consideration on sale of a immovable property, in that case also the TDS deducted by the party before making payment to you is also will also reflect in your 26AS form. And any TDS on rent of property exceeding 50,000 rupees per month, that will also be reflected in your 26AS. And apart from this, in case there is any TCS on the sale of car, so if you purchase a car, you will be required to pay the seller tax at the rate of 1% on sale price. But the condition here is this, that is, if the sale price is exceeding rupees 10 lakhs, so the same will be deposited by the seller of the car in your name with the government treasury, and details of the tax collected will be reflected in your Form 26AS. So if you have paid any advance tax or self-assessment tax, that will also get reflected in this form. And apart from this, very importantly, the details of high value transactions. So high value transactions that were made through banking and financial institutions, they are also reported in Form 26AS based on an annual information return. Regarding this, we will also discuss in detail that all those information which are being reported through annual information return will get reflected in Form 26AS of the respective assessees. For example, if you purchase high value mutual funds or immovable property or high value corporate bonds, etc., so they'll also get reflected in your Form 26AS, provided the party with whom you have transacted, they have reported those transactions through their AIR return. In their AIR return, they have reported the same to the government. So let us discuss what is an annual information return. So as per Finance Act 2003, the amendment which was made applicable from 1st April 2004, specified entities were required to furnish an annual information return in respect of specified financial transactions which were registered or recorded by them during the financial year, which was of course beginning from 1st April 2004. and the reporting has to be done to the income tax authority. But the key point here is that the in case of annual information return, the specified entities were prescribed. The entities were also prescribed, as well as the transactions and nature of value and nature of transaction are also specified. So if you fall in that particular category, in that case only you have to make the reporting through annual information return. The entities have to report through annual information return. So you can see in the table below that a banking company, in case where in the case the cash deposits have been made in excess of rupees 10 lakh, that transaction has to be reported in AIR. And in case of any payment made through credit card, 2 lakh rupees was the limit. And in case a person is buying mutual funds, so that in that case 2 lakh rupees was the limit uh, for buying any mutual fund transactions, doing any mutual fund transactions. A company or institution issuing bonds or debentures, that was the specified entity here, and in that case 5 lakh rupees or more, uh, in case the person is buying shares or bonds or debentures, sorry, not shares, bonds and debentures exceeding 5 lakh rupees, that has to be reported in the AIR return. And in case of shares, 1 lakh rupees was the limit. So in case of property also, in case a person is buying any immovable property in excess of rupees 30 lakh, in that case also the registrar or the sub registrar has to report that information through AIR regarding that particular SSC. And in case of RBI bonds, the 5 lakh rupees was the limit. So these are the set of specified transactions as well as the specified person who have to report the transactions through the AIR. So this was the all information which is available from 1st April 2004 till date with the income tax department regarding a particular SSC. These are basically the high value transaction regarding which I am talking about in the last slide. Okay. So if we talk about the journey of annual information return, you can notice that it was introduced from Finance Act 2003, and it was made applicable from financial year 4-5 onwards for the first time in the history. And the specific wherein as per which the specified entities were required to furnish AIR in respect of specified financial transactions only, which were recorded by them, the entities, during the financial year, and the reporting has to be done to the income tax authority or any other prescribed authority. Then after that, as per an amendment brought in through Finance Act 2014, Section 285BA was replaced and it was renamed. It was replaced and it was renamed as obligation to furnish statement of financial transactions or reportable account, to widen the scope of specified person and to introduce various other provisions. So from financial year 4-5 till financial year 19-20, you can have a fair idea that 16 long year time the department has. So you can make a rough idea that so much information is already with the government. It's just that they are not using it properly, probably, but they have a lot of information about the details or high value transactions about the SSCs. So if we talk about the statutory provision relating to old or existing Form 26 AS, this section remain in effect from 1st April 2018 till date till 31st of May 2020. So if we notice that the AIR, Annual Information Return, has been introduced in 2003, Finance Act 2003 itself. So it is a quite an older concept as in relation to Form 26 AS. And as per this section, the prescribed income tax authority or the person authorized by such authority has to prepare and deliver to every person from whom income the tax has been deducted or in respect of whose income the tax has been paid. A statement in the prescribed form, a statement has to be issued in the prescribed form. The prescribed form is Form 26 AS, and in that form, the amount of tax deducted or paid has to be specified along with the other particulars as may be prescribed. So, as per Rule 31 AB, which is the enabling rule for this provision 203 AA, Form 26 AS has to be issued by the prescribed authority by 31st of July following the financial year during which the taxes were deducted or collected or paid. So this was the provision, statutory provision in relation to the old or the existing Form 26A. Now let's talk about the changes brought in by Finance Act 2020 in the above provisions relating to issue of Form 26AS. By way of Finance Act 2020, a new section has been inserted, 285BB, As you can see, this section 285BB has been inserted through Finance Act 2020, and this section was made applicable from 1st of June 2020. This section has replaced section 203AA, which was the earlier or the old enabling section of Form 26AS. The purpose is basically of this amendment is to basically extend the scope of information beyond the information about tax deducted. So rather than focusing only on the information about tax deductions made by the deductor, the purpose of the department is to gather more and more information, financial information about the assessees. And also the name of Form 26AS has been changed from annual tax statement to annual information statement. But if you see in the memorandum explaining the Finance Bill 2020, it has been mentioned as annual financial statement. But I don't know the reasons, but it has been done so. And also the prescribed authority shall upload such information on the registered account of the assessee within the 3 months of the 3 months following the month in which he gets the information. The department gets the information regarding such assessee. So within 3 months, the information will get uploaded. So this is basically a sharp contrasting feature from the existing Form 26AS, which was an annual affair. The form used to get uploaded on the website only after a year, but in case of this Form 26AS, you can get a quarterly information also regarding the updated form. So in order to give effect to the amendment introduced by way of section 285BB, a notification has also been issued on 28th of May 2020 to insert rule 114I. In this case, after the introduction of this rule, rule 31AB shall be omitted from the rules, and the prescribed authority under the earlier section, that is section 203AA, which has also been omitted as of now, as on today, the authority will remain same. This is the key here. And in the new Form 26AS, along with PAN, email address, mobile number, and Aadhaar number of assessee would also be mentioned. If you can say PAN will remain, but all these particular will also be there on this. So make it confidential and do not share it casually, as chances of fraud could be there. And the banks, financial institutions, or any other authority or customer, buyer, etc., while carrying out due diligence, if a party is making any trade transaction with you, he can also have a fair idea about your authenticity or genuineness through the generation of Form 26AS. And this will actually can help as a stimulus for you to get the business in your favor, but at the same time it is a challenge also. So additional information, financial information, if we talk about, which is being reflected in Form 26AS, first of all is specified financial transactions. In AIR, we have a limited set of transaction which was prescribed. The authority was prescribed, but in case of specified financial transaction, we will discuss in coming slide that the scope has been much detailed and elaborated. And apart from specified financial transactions, information related to pending income tax proceedings as well as completed proceedings will also get reflected in this new Form 26AS, and information pertaining to double taxation relief as specified under section 90 and 90A in respect of such particular assessee will also get reflected. Any relief which is due or which would not be allowed, any information regarding double taxation will also get reflected in Form 26A. And apart from this, information received from any other person which the officer deems fit in the interest of revenue. So this is a very tricky point which gives power to the authorities to reflect any information which they deem fit according to their own wisdom. So this is also a key point here. So if I talk about specified financial transactions, you can have a fair idea that it is a long list in which there are so much of filters, and the threshold of the transaction has been kept at very low so that maximum number of assessees get covered by this SFT disclosure. And any banking transaction, if you deposit cash in one or more current account, and if you make withdrawals from that current account aggregating to 50 lakh rupees, then the transactions will get covered in the SFT, and the banking company will report regarding that to the income tax authority. And any cash deposits, time deposits, and acquiring of bond and debentures, even if you are paying some money for as a share application money also to that company, before the allotment stage itself, if I'm talking, and the amount have been paid more than 10 lakh rupees or more in a financial year, then that transaction will also get covered in the SFT. SFT, and the company which is issuing share will provide that information to the income tax authority as it is bound to do so. So you can have a idea that the income tax department is having actually very huge and very detailed information about the financial transactions you are doing. Even if you admit it or you not admit, the department is having the information regarding every transactions of yours. In the continued series of specified financial transactions, if you talk that during the demonetization period, the cash deposits which have been made, so in any, even in any bank or post office account or anywhere, the amount was 12 lakh 50,000 or more in any current account, or 2 lakh 50,000 in any saving or other account. That transaction will also get reported to the income tax authority. And in case of any purchase or sale of immovable property, in case the transaction value or valuation of stamp duty authority referred to in section 50C for an amount of rupees 30 lakhs or more, in that case also the transaction will be get covered in the specified financial transaction, and the information regarding the same will be given to the income tax authority. So you can have an idea and be cautious that the information which you believe that is not being reported and is not it is not in the information of income tax department is actually with the department, and they can take action regarding the same at any point of time. So it is like a humble request and a suggestion from my side to all the probable taxpayer, potential taxpayer who are going to file the return for this year, that you please disclose on your own all the share transactions and any FD related transaction, any FD interest if you are missing it in the earlier years, or any mutual fund purchase transactions, or even in any property details, because these detail will anyway the information regarding these transactions is anyway with the department. It's just that they are not issuing any notice regarding that. So it will be better that you self declare these returns, these transactions in your income tax return. And apart from these, in case any cash receipts or sale of more than rupees 2 lakhs in a particular financial year, so they say the same is also to be disclosed by the taxpayer in its return of income, so that it could avoid any unexplained credit adjustments or any other repercussion in the assessment during the assessment time. So I hope after watching this video you'll be better careful and prepared before filing your return of income for this coming year. So thank you for watching. That's all for this video. Stay safe and stay at home.